The 15-Point Plan is part of the Win, Make, Give podcast network.
Welcome to the 15-Point Plan. My name is Chad Hyams, and I am going to be interviewing a heck of a guy today with a heck of a foundation. Now, you may have heard a little bit of Josh's story over on our Win, Make, Give podcast. And if you haven't, make sure you go check that out as well after this one, because you're going to hear even more from this guy, from this amazing foundation. Yet, Josh, I want to welcome you to the 15-Point Plan, where we talk about health, energy, and we're talking about all of those things. We're going to have a slightly different conversation than we got to have over at Win, Make, Give, but some people might be finding you here first. So would you do me a quick little favor and recap who you are, who you're representing, and a little bit about all that?
Josh Jabin. I'm a 20-year veteran of the Marine Corps, now currently serving as the Chief Operating Officer at Travis Manion Foundation.
That's awesome. And the Travis Manion Foundation is?
We are a community led by veterans and families of the fallen that serve together and support each other. So we were founded back in 2007 after we lost First Lieutenant Travis Manion, who paid the ultimate sacrifice in Iraq. Originally started to honor Travis, but since then we've grown very organically around the country, and we now honor all those fallen heroes who have served and sacrificed for us by continuing their legacy of service.
And that's amazing. And Travis, we appreciate him, his family, the sacrifice of any of your fellow people who have served and all who have sacrificed for us and our freedoms that we have here today. And Travis Manion might as well be a guy who stands above and leads this foundation. 5 power words, right? If not me, then who? And folks, go hear the story Josh shares where that comes from on our Win, Make, Give podcast, where we're talking about winning with the Travis Manion Foundation. But today we're going to talk about our 15-Point Plan. Now, Josh, you might not know the 15-Point Plan, so let me quickly run you through it. And what we have is, this is a concept that Ben Kinney created to help people when they're in a rut, when they need to just up their energy, when they need to feel happier, healthier, and all of those things. And what we do on the 15-Point Plan is we go through each of these things. We dive deep into each of them for anybody who wants to be listening. And what we're here to do is help you learn how to earn these 15 points every day to have an ultimate day, which will up your energy. And I'll just run you through them quickly so you know, because you'll see that, well, the Travis Manion Foundation is probably checking all these off all the time. 1 is you got to have goals and you got to know them. 2, there has to be movement in your day. You have to physically be moving. Hydration is key. Sleep is one of the most important things in every day. Nutrition, supplements, the influences in your life. And boy, we touched on that briefly over on the other podcast when we were talking. Journaling, mindfulness, gratitude, laughter, learning, hobbies, service for other people. And boy, here you are, not only a Marine serving for years, you're now serving everybody through the Travis Manion Foundation. And then our time. How are we spending our time? And as we go through them on the 15-Point Plan, we break them down, give each other check marks so that we're making sure we have the highest energy and the highest health possible for the day. Yet the Travis Manion Foundation focuses on physical and mental health through its goals. So let's talk a little bit about the mental health side of it first, Josh, and then we'll get into the physical health. And gang, you're going to hear a workout that's going to make you sweat just hearing Josh tell you what the workout looks like. Yet let's talk about the mental health, some of that mindfulness, some of that gratitude, laughter, learning, things that we need to be doing in our head. How's the Travis Manion Foundation dealing with mental health and energy of its people that it's helping?
And I love your 15 points. And I think people have such a narrow view on mental health. I know within our veteran serving space, all of the different entities used to have a very narrow definition of mental health, and specifically more focused on the negative. You know, we within the veteran space, veteran mental health and suicide have become the number one topic. And for so many years, it was thought of as the when something becomes an emergency and providing that clinical support. It was about hotlines and clinical support. And those things haven't gone away. They're still very important, but we've learned that there's a full spectrum of mental health and well-being, from one end of the spectrum where somebody's in crisis mode, which is important, and we need to make sure that they have the proper resources to take care of someone, all the way up to the highest end, where you're looking at the people that are the highest performers, who have the highest levels of overall well-being, and what can we learn from them? And what we do is we talk about having that proactive approach to mental health care. And what we're trying to do is find people along the spectrum before they're in crisis mode and give them those different protective factors, making sure that they have that sense of community, making sure that they have that way of serving and they have that mission, that way of feeling important, and a lot of those other components within the 15-point plan. And our mental health care and our overall well-being, it really is the culmination of all those things, right? It's making sure that we have all those things on an everyday basis, and that we're working towards, if we're say it's a scale of 0 to 10, let's say that we're somewhere in the middle there, we're a 5 or a 6, just continuing to work our way up towards the higher end of well-being. And that's what we provide. We provide all the opportunities to go out there and serve together. Most of those 15 points that you spoke about. How do you serve together? Who are you surrounding yourself with? Goal setting, we go over all those types of things, and just making sure that we have that proactive approach, that we're not waiting until somebody has bad mental health or is in a bad situation before we start addressing some of those components.
Yeah, and the situation that you're in, having being in the military, I mean, as you talked, you're on your way out, yet you're still active, and we appreciate your service. That's got to be one of the industries out there where mental health is the biggest conversation, right? Or maybe I should say it's not the biggest conversation, because so many people are A-type personalities that are military type people and then don't want to admit that they need help or anything like that. Josh, is there anything you can give us as, and I'm putting you on the spot for it, and I know you're not a doctor or anything, but is there anything you can give us that we could be looking for in our friends, family members who have had service that might be indicators that we need to get them involved in a foundation like the Travis Manion Foundation as soon as possible?
So I'd say everybody needs it, whether they show warning signs of poor mental health care or whether they show some of the warning signs of potential suicide. Everybody needs to have that support system. It's something that we take for granted in the military. You wake up every day in the military with that strong sense of purpose. I commissioned as a Marine in May 2001. I was at the basic school on September 11th. I spent almost my entire 20 years serving as a Marine during a time of war, a couple deployments overseas. So I never had, every morning as a Marine, I could wake up and I knew I was doing something important. Every day I had that camaraderie of the Marines around me. When you lose that, you don't even realize how important that is until it's gone. And even then, you don't put your finger on what's wrong. Why am I not as happy today as I was as an active duty Marine? And sometimes you start to look for the solution in the wrong places. Maybe it's my wife's fault. Maybe it's my kid's fault. You start to look for just making myself feel better today, and sometimes you get into some bad habits, drinking more, drugs, other things. So it's really easy to fall down. And so before you start slipping in the wrong direction, it's important to have that support system around you, that community around you, that way of serving others, because those are the most important protective factors for suicide is the ones I just named. And so, before it becomes, everybody needs these things. And it's not just military, it's all of us. My wife, I mentioned in the other podcast, my wife and I, we've been married for over 10 years. We just had our third child. We have a 3-month-old. So all these things that I'm talking about, my wife goes through them also. She had to stop working when COVID broke out and she was pregnant. She stopped working. Her job was, she worked at an animal hospital, and that's her passion. She helps animals when they're sick, and she loves the people that she's surrounded with, the people that she works with. And so for her, like, these things go away. Then you have a baby with all the things surrounding that. So whether you're military making that transition, whether you're a new mom making that transition, we all go through these transitions, and we all need these support systems and the camaraderie and the sense of purpose. And so everybody should have their community, whatever it is.
I love that you brought that around out of the military into so many other things. I mean, I'm looking at my daughter. She's 20 years old right now. And college, right? She's a college and shut it down, lock them down and all of that stuff. They've lost their community, forced at home, especially during what we're going through with COVID. A lot of us have lost that community that we had and have to adjust and find it. Having a community is a huge one. And we talked about very, very briefly on the other podcast. Let's talk about a little bit more. You specifically were talking about your influences. So we talk about, we say be mindful of what you're paying attention to. We're talking about whether that's media. We're talking about what are you, reading or not reading? Who are you having conversations with? Who are those people that are in your life? Talk to me a little bit about, the influences that you personally maybe put around yourself to make sure that you're moving in the right direction on a daily basis.
I've been blessed. I've been a part of organizations where I'm just surrounded by great people. Whether it was growing up on a wrestling team, I had a lot of people who were extremely motivated at a very young age to accomplish big things, and we became very close. In the Marine Corps, we have that, in spades. There's everybody is very self-driven, very disciplined. The Marine Corps attracts a certain type of person, and the ones who stay embrace that culture. And so I've been surrounded. And now at Travis Manion Foundation, it's the same thing. Most of the people are volunteers. We all choose how we spend our time, but the people who join us, they volunteer their time to go serve others. So these are good people. And so that's where I spend most of my time. And whether we're serving together, whether we're socializing together, whether we're working out together, it's people that I trust. It's people that I know if I'm having a bad day, if I'm in a rut, they're going to pick me up. And I'm looking around saying, is Johnny off today? Is something going on? Hey, Johnny, what's up? You okay? And you'd be surprised, like just that simple caring about somebody, just that simple question, maybe Johnny doesn't even know, maybe he doesn't even know that he's off that day. And he's like, oh, am I giving that off? Like, oh, let me think about that. Maybe I am. And sometimes, and sometimes you're like, yeah, got in a fight with, my wife yesterday, and here's what happened, or, here's some pressure I'm getting from my family or work or whatever. And a lot of times it's the non-clinical support. That's the thing that we teach is how to support each other. And it doesn't have, you don't need to go to a therapist necessarily. Some people do, and that's important and do it. And I encourage people to do it. But you don't have to be a therapist. A lot of times it's just having a conversation with friends and listening. In the Marine Corps, one of the things that I think we got bad advice on was, if somebody came and you thought that there was a problem, you sent them off to the chaplain, or you said, hey, go see the doc. And a lot of times, like, we are the first line of defense when somebody just needs to talk or just needs someone to listen. And so, that non-clinical, we call ourselves a non-clinical approach to mental health care, that a lot of times that's the most important support.
And that's so very true, how we can all be that non-clinical support to each other. Now, one of the other things on the 15-point plan that I'm keep hearing you say again and again and again is serve. And we say that you should volunteer, you should donate, you should help an organization or just a friend in need. Because if you can get your mind off yourself and onto others, you're going to be increasing your energy and taking yourself away from the challenges that happen with you. We're not all leading the Travis Manion Foundation, which is all about service. How can someone just go serve? What would you tell somebody today who says, okay, I want to add service to my life, but I don't even know where to begin?
There's so many opportunities every day. You mentioned the 5 words that Travis spoke, if not me, then who? And we talk about every day, as I'm out mentoring kids, that's one of our main programs. We talk about every day having that if not me, then who moment. It could be shoveling my next door neighbor's driveway. I live in Pennsylvania right now. It's been snowing way too much over this past winter. Just a simple gesture like that could mean so much to somebody. It could mean, you mentioned donating. It could mean buying somebody a cup of coffee at the local Starbucks. It could take on anything. And it's those little things that add up. It could be a kind word. It doesn't have to be a grandiose service project. Although those are great too, and those tend to take a little more time and planning and recruiting some friends. But we all have the capability to do those big things. But really, it's do the little things. If you're big in the little things, you will be big in the big things.
Oh, I love that. Say that again. Can you say that again?
Absolutely. Be big in the little things, and you will be big in the big things. And honestly, my inspiration and the inspiration of our organization, Travis Manion, he was big in the little things. It was that every day, I wrestled with him, right? So every day it was coming to practice with that positive attitude. It was working hard. Travis was a tough guy. I mean, Travis was a friend, but if we got too close to the edge and we were going at it, he would have no problem taking your head and smashing it against the wall. And then as soon as practice ended, he'd grab you and say, "Hey, thanks for making me better today. Let's go grab some dinner." And everybody needs that person to push them, but everybody needs that person to put their arms around them. But every day he was big in those little things. And I'll tell you, it wasn't surprising that on April 29th, 2007, that he was prepared for that big day when he was called upon for his to make the ultimate sacrifice. But it was years and years of hard work and practice and being big in the little things that prepared him for that final day.
Yeah, that's wow. Okay, so I listened to the Win, Make, Give podcast interview with you where we talked about winning and we talked about the foundation. I'm listening to the 15-point plan interview with you where I'm talking about health and wellness and energy and all of that. This Travis Manion Foundation, this place sounds awesome to me. I want to serve. Where would I start if I were a listener going, "Hey, I wasn't in the military, but I want to help this organization more than just click, here's some money." How could somebody help and serve the Travis Manion Foundation?
Go to our website, travismanion.org. There's a button that says join the mission, and everyone is invited to join the mission. That's why when I describe us, I say we are a community led by veterans and families of the fallen. We're not exclusive to veterans and families with the fallen. Everybody's welcome to come serve with us. One of the big problems facing our veteran community is feeling disconnected from the wherever they end up. A lot of us, we grow up one place, we move around for the military for a few years, and we end up somewhere else with people that we don't know, without family nearby. And that's been a big problem. As fewer and fewer people serve, there's fewer and fewer veterans out there. There's a disconnect. And so what we're trying to do is create this community, and we're led by veterans and families of fallen, but we want everybody who shares our values, who wants to be part of this mission to serve others, to come join us, and let's do this together. So go to the website, travismanion.org, click on join the mission, and then look for different ways to serve by you.
Okay. Now I'll tell you ways that here are the ways I served in the past or became involved in the organization that everybody else can get into as well. So first, you guys do 5Ks all over the place.
Yep.
I mean, you're doing the 5K. I mean, that's almost commonplace now to just do a 5K. I've got my neck gaiter there that I've been wearing to go to the store with my Travis Manion logos all over it from doing a virtual 5K right now. But you guys are doing 5Ks, things like that. They can get involved, obviously, that way to help the organization and bring exposure as well.
Absolutely. So that's the 9/11 Heroes Run. That's our 5K race series. So every year during the month of September, around September 11th, and how crazy that this year is going to be the 20th anniversary of September 11th. To me, that
unbelievable.
Right? For me and you, that feels like just yesterday, but the 20th anniversary. And so we're going to have over 50 locations plus a virtual option. So run anywhere. We learned last year that we can have a really successful virtual campaign for people that want to run that don't live within one of these 50 locations. But, come join us, come run the 5K, but it's so much more than that. It's really about coming and showing up and being part of that community, hearing some stories, inspiring stories about fallen heroes and others who are out there, sacrificing for us. So that's in September. Again, our website, travismanion.org, and click on 9/11 Heroes Run, and you'll see all the different options, either in person or virtually.
Yeah, I remember this year I ran it virtually because I'm somewhere that's not near one of the major cities. And folks, for all of you out there saying, well, I don't live that close to such and such a city, or still with COVID, I still don't want to go. Okay, run it virtually. Go run it out your backyard. Go run it in the community park near you, because exposure to the organization might help somebody in your local area seeing you out running if they stop and ask. I do remember being there in person, though, a few years ago in Atlanta, where we lived at the time. Did really well. It was a really good run, even though it was raining that day. And I took almost a nice wipeout during the race that I relive in my nightmares. Yet there was a gentleman running who shared his story, and he was running on the prosthetic leg through the race, who the foundation had brought out for us that day. And it's just amazing to hear these stories in person. Now that's one of the ways everybody can do. And I don't know what's happening this year, whether you're going to be able to get into the CrossFit gyms kind of the way you have in the past. Yet I know the way I first found out was the Manion WOD. Now, WOD, for those of you who are not CrossFit people, that's workout of the day, right? That's what a WOD stands for. And whether you're a workout person or not, you've probably heard of the Murph, right? Everybody hears about the Murph. They make a huge deal about that one, as well deserved. I mean, he was huge sacrifice, and of course a very well-known story in multiple movies and books and all of that kind of stuff. And that's a killer workout, the mile run. What do we got? 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, and 300 squats, and then another mile run, all while wearing a 20-pound vest. God bless us all. Yet I got to say, that might be the hardest workout I've ever done. Yet the second hardest workout I've ever done was the Manion WOD. Talk about this workout, the Manion WOD, how it was created, because I know every piece of it relates to Travis and the day of his ultimate sacrifice.
So Travis paid the ultimate sacrifice on April 29th, 2007, 4/29/7. So it consists of 135 pounds, although, we tell everybody, that's the standard, but feel free to adjust the weight as necessary, because we want everybody to be able to participate. But 135, the standard way to do it, 135 pounds, 29 squats, 400-meter run, repeat 7 times.
That's a 135-pound back squat, folks. That's putting that bar on your shoulders and squatting and standing 29 times.
But I'm going to say, Chad, I'm 41. I've had some back problems. Air squats are perfectly acceptable. There's no shame in air squats. Or if you can grab a sandbag with less than 135 pounds, if you want whatever weight you want on there. I mean, really, the point of these WODs is to remember those fallen heroes, yes, to be part of the community, to get a good workout in. But all of that's important, to be inspired, to inspire other people. So, we don't want people to be turned off by, the 135 pounds. Just come out.
That's a great point.
Everybody can do it.
I remember doing it. I don't think I ever did more than, after the first round, I don't think I ever did more than 10 at a time without having to put the bar on the rack and taking a break and then hitting another 10. Okay, good. So perfectly acceptable.
Even the diehard CrossFitters, and we have a lot of them within TMF, they'll tell you the same thing. If you can, if it's a challenge for you and you can do the 135, go for it. But if you're somewhere else or you're just starting out, make those adjustments. Just get out and do it.
So on April 29th this year, folks, whether you can get to a gym or can't get to a gym, you can do 29 squats where you are, whether you have some weight, don't have some weight to do it, and then go do a 400-meter run, and do that whole thing 7 times. 29 squats, 400-meter run.
And I'll say, Chad, so, September, during the month, all throughout the year, we have these different campaigns. So September, that's our campaign for the 9/11 Heroes Run 5Ks. A lot of people love running 5Ks. In the spring, we have, during the month of April, around the anniversary of Travis's death, we do the Manion WOD. And then we have different service campaigns in November around Veterans Day. We do Operation Legacy Service Projects. We do them again in May around Memorial Day. It's just about coming out. The Manion WOD, one of our programs is called Character Does Matter, where we train veterans to go out and deliver a character and leadership course with young adults. We'll do it with the kids. And we'll make it a team effort. So we'll say, hey, 29 total squats. And then we each run our 400 meters. And then we do the 29 squats either together as a group, or we could do them, cumulative, where we're depending
29
on
kids each do one, right?
Good. And then you go run 400 and everybody gets what they can. But the point is, just get out there and do it. Learn the story of a fallen hero, be part of a team, challenge yourself, as best you can. But just go out there and experience something. On the last one, we talked about winning. And, for a lot of people, just getting that first win inspires you to challenge yourself a little more to get that second win, to get that third win. And it's no different with the physical and mental health. Sometimes, if I mentioned to you one of my friends who's a Marine I served with, who's just this physical stud. And he does these crazy challenges that, he's out there running for a week at a time, and he's in the desert. And he's doing crazy things. if I try to be like him, I'm going to fall on my butt and I'm never going to want to get back up, because that's not me. And that's not the goal that I need to set. So, sometimes people hear about these WODs and they can get intimidated. Everybody just challenge yourself, whatever that challenge is for you, just challenge yourself, but get out there and do something. It starts with one small victory, then steadily increase.
And that's one of the things we talk about in the 15-point plan. It's that movement. It's getting those 10,000 steps a day. I don't necessarily consider that a workout, but it's getting those 10,000 steps a day, or it's getting that workout in, that 20 minutes of elevated heart rate, whatever it's going to be, getting one of these workouts of the day in that Manion Foundation has created and so many others have.
I love that. I mean, with all the virtual working, both my kids are at home doing virtual school. I'm in front of my computer for a good portion of the day. Every day around 3:30, depending on when the baby is going down for the next nap, we go out and we take a nice hour walk. And that just get out there, get some fresh air, move around, and the whole family needs it. If you can get a workout in the morning and that in the afternoon, but I'm with you, Chad. It's about moving around. It's about, and for me, it's always about trying to combine two or more things. If I can get some movement while also spending time with my family, I mean, that's a double win for me.
Absolutely. Align those purposes together in your life, right? You can get the movement in, you can be spending, you can be grateful, you can be laughing while you're with your kids, you can be hitting multiple of those 15-point plans all at the same time while you're doing some of these things. Josh, you've been a Marine, I don't want to say your whole life, yet you've been a Marine a large majority of your life, right? Half your life at this point, if we do the math. And usually no one just becomes a Marine. You probably had something through high school even that was like, I've got that buried in me. I don't know what it is yet. When it comes to that physical health, I don't think I've ever seen an out of shape Marine. So just talk to us for a little bit about health in the mindset of a Marine and what happens when you step out of being a Marine and how you continue that stuff.
It's an interesting time for me to have that conversation, Chad, because in my entire life, I was extremely, physically active and I was in great shape. And, full disclosure, I've had some injuries lately and I'm challenged myself now. There's some days where I don't feel like I can go out and do my workout. And that really, that physical plays into the mental. And I'll come back to what I just said, so if my back, I have, multiple disc protrusions and herniations. If I'm going through one of those things where I can't run that day, or I can't do my push-ups or my sit-ups or whatever, some days I can barely get off the couch. As long as I can get up and go for that walk, maybe that's the best I can do that day. But if you don't do that, if you're just content to lay on the couch, then you start to eat worse. And then now you're not moving. All those 15 points that you talked about, they build on each other in a positive way. They do the same in the other direction.
Yep.
And so for me, like it's easy to get into a rut when my physical health, when the injuries are bad, it's easy for those to have that spiral effect in the wrong direction and end up taking that mental toll. So for me, it's like, sometimes it's those small steps that we were just talking about, just get out, just get outside, get some fresh air today, go for that walk, be around my family, just don't feel sorry for myself sitting on the couch, eating Doritos, because that quickly spirals on itself.
Although there's nothing wrong with a good Dorito every now and then, Josh. Let's be clear.
I love a good Dorito, but it's every once in a while, like when I'm in one of those ruts, it's like I have to remind myself, hey, you're still Josh the Marine. I may not look like I'm the 22-year-old version at basic training anymore. I may not be, have the same physical fitness scores that I had back then. But keeping that mindset and just continuing to do the best you can and challenge yourself and get a little bit better. Even you have those setbacks. Take one step backward, got it. Now we take one or two steps back forward and just making sure that you're always attempting to move in that positive direction, even
Awesome.
Despite some limitations.
That's awesome. All right. So here's the thing. I don't want to keep you from getting that family walk. So you get that family influence time. You get that movement time. Me, I'm going to get off this call. I'm going to go for my 5K. I'm going to go do a Manion 5K just for the heck of it today. I'll go get that in for my movement for us. I really want to thank you for taking the time and joining us here on the 15-point plan, where we were able to talk about health, mental and physical in there. I wanted to also thank you. And folks, if you haven't listened I'm going to ask you to go listen to the Win, Make, Give interview that Josh and I did, where we talked about winning through the foundation, because there were some great takeaways in there. You can find that by searching for Win, Make, Give anywhere you get your podcast, or just go to winmakegive.com or check our show notes. We'll have the link right there for you. Josh, on behalf of the team here at 15 Point Plan, I want to thank you. I want to remind everybody, just go check out travismanion.org. See how you can get involved. See how you can join the team. See how you can make your mark and maybe help the foundation grow. Until our next episode, we really hope this one helps take your energy to the next level.